Movies like Venom show you that there's an incongruence between the box office and the ratings that the critics give. And this really shows how divisive critics can be when they give ratings for a movie. So we picked out the movies that the critics actually got wrong, but are actually awesome. Here are 8 of them in the past decade.
Ben Affleck plays a math savant but has high-functioning autism. He takes on clients that do things off the books, to say the least, and one of them happens to be a robotics company. The Treasury Department's Crime Enforcement Division starts to track him, and then things go crazy. With 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, critics concluded this as a bunch of plots haphazardly put together and not focused on one plot, which is bonkers as it bends multiple genres and stars as an assassin that's autistic, being more representative than most modern movies. Outside of the box thinking and performances that most blockbusters can't seem to fathom, it demands a sequel, and you most definitely should watch this. The finale to the movies Split and Unbreakable was highly anticipated as David Dunn finally faces off Kevin Wendell Crumb. In typical critical fashion, it was quite divisive to say the least, with only 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics called it a disappointing finale, but it earned a whopping $250 million with its tiny $20 million budget. Unlike most superhero movies, it subverts the tropes and goes in directions that's unexpected, which the critics couldn't digest. The end of the film is my favourite as M. Night pulls the rug on you just like the old times, harkening back to The Sixth Sense. Dan Murrell from Screen Junkers is the only critic who got it right.
I will be one of those people that will vigorously defend and really enjoy the choices that were made in this film.
Two CIA partners Chris Pine and Tom Hardy are best friends and happen to fall for the same woman. Now they have to use their CIA skills and gadgets to take down each other and get the woman they want, which just sounds like a fun rom, but the critics gave it a ludicrous 26%. The charisma and the charm of both the leads is mesmerizing, to say the least. It leans more towards the comedy side than romantic. It's a fantastic date movie that any couple would love. Three high school kids throw a party to get popular, and then things slowly start to get out of control when the word of the party starts to spread. It currently stands at 28% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the critics called it unfunny and mean-spirited. It only goes to show the critics only love movies that are slow, boring, and Oscar bait, than to be in the shoes of young teenagers who just want to have a riot at their age. With fantastic music, along with the ingenuity of fan footage, which makes sense for the movie as it's just teenagers filming, it's also inspired by real-life Delaney from Australia, who did the same thing back in 2008. Critics really can't handle the truth. It made money 10 times its budget, which shows how much the audiences loved it. Hayden Christensen plays David, who's a jumper, aka people who can teleport. When he discovers he has powers, he robs banks, surfs in PG, has lunch atop the pyramids, like any young man would. It's got an abysmal 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. Samuel Jackson plays an antagonist who hunts jumpers, as he's not the only one out there. The action is incredible, where you see trucks flying out of nowhere and people teleporting all around the world. It's very enjoyable and has decent characters. Just because Anakin Skywalker is in it doesn't mean it's terrible. It was an original idea at the time before superhero movies were a thing. It dug deep into the idea of people having to teleport and made it into a reality. A standalone movie about Eddie Brock and how he becomes Venom as he battles his own mind as well as others who look to have a symbiote of their own. Venom appeared in 2007 and was rather disastrous as Topher Grace did nothing to elevate the material. Venom is big and imposing as he was intended in the comics. His threatening voice and Tom's performance is a testament to how good Tom Hardy can really transform into a character. It's funny and pays homage to the comics in many ways. It feels like a 90s action blockbuster that's just fun and comedic. It made $855 million at the box office, which shows how much the critics got it wrong. Shredder and his clan take over the city, and then the Turtles come out of the shadows to save the day. With 22%, they called it boring, dull, which is baffling as it's anything but for me, as I watched them as a kid and they perfectly captured the personalities of each turtle with humor, action, and nuance, which other turtle movies really struggled with. This live action take ditches the costumes for CGI, which really did a great job of being new and fresh, yet still retaining the nostalgia factor. It's a fun ride from start to finish, like a Saturday morning cartoon. It made $500 million and had a sequel in 2016. Not one critic agreed with it, but it's the norm with offbeat movies.
So those were the movies that we thought were underrated but yet awesome. Do you know any of them that you thought were underrated? Well, you know what to do. Let us know in the comment section below. And check out Smart DNS Proxy if you're keen to unblock American Netflix on your device that you watch your Netflix on. That way, you have a lot more bang for your buck. I'm Vamsy, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And check out our other videos, because there's plenty of them. And subscribe, because you can.